welcome back to Journey Through Al Capilan. So I wanted to, of course, give a warm thank you to all of my viewers, to my subscribers. I just thank you all so very much. And if you are watching this and you have not yet subscribed, you are very welcome to do so, and I encourage you to do so. So thank you all so very much for your support, for your viewership. I thank you all so much for your comments. It is very, very, very much appreciated, and I'm very grateful. So this video is about how how 600,000 shillings was stolen from me. 600,000 shillings is probably about, it depends on, what the conversion rate is today, but it's about 269 USD. But in Tanzanian shillings, it's a lot. So here's the story. So after we moved from our compound in Njero, Kentena, we moved to Usa River. I fell in love with Usa River. It is a very beautiful, beautiful place. It is considered out of town. It has a beautiful river, vibrant river that flows through it. There are just a lot of just naturally beautiful places to go and just chill out and just be in nature and just have a good, beautiful time. The whole energy of USA, I really enjoyed just from the moment that I first visited, and I said, okay, I want to live here. I want to make this place my home. It matched my energy. Just a very laid back place, aesthetically pleasing. It's again, a river road flows through it, and I love water. So yeah, so we found a house there, and I saw some things that needed to be changed, and that needed to be repaired or worked on in the house, just to make it suitable for my son and myself. So I spoke to okay, so my driver, he contacted a middleman. The middleman found me, of course, this home here in that home there, excuse me, in USA. And I kept asking about the owner. And when I initially went to see the place, there was this other guy there aside from my broker middleman, and he was presenting himself as the owner, and so I thought that I was speaking with the owner, and I told my driver knows how I am. Once negotiations start, I want to only negotiate with the owner. So the guy was, again, representing himself as the owner. He was asking me, I was asking him, letting him know the changes that I would need, the repairs that needed to be done. He agreed. Then we started the negotiation process. He gave a price, I gave a price. We weren't really seeing eye to eye. And then he's like, well, how much are you wanting to pay for this place? And it was a furnished place. It's 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. And so, excuse me, I gave him the price, and he agreed. And so that price was 600,000 T shillings per month. And so again, back then, I think it was around like 269 USD per month. So, with that, I gave a date as to, when we would like to move in, and we were under a time crunch because the house that we had, the compound that we had in Njero, which is, you all can see, I gave a tour. I did a tour video of that compound. We did that for a short term. And given just the way that you have to go about, you know, finding houses here with the help of middlemen and women, and just the culture here of a lot of the owners just don't, if it's unoccupied, if their house is unoccupied, they don't work on it. They don't upkeep. They don't do any upkeep, from my experience and from what I have seen. And I've seen quite a bit of homes, and it's been the same story. It's just a thing here where it's like, if it's not occupied, then they pretty much do nothing with it. I'm sure there are some exceptions to that, but for the most part, that has been my observation and my experience. And so they wait until, you know, they have found people to occupy the home, and then they start working on the home and getting it ready for occupancy. So yeah, so I gave my move-in date, and I said, you know, when I come, I just expect to have everything, all of the changes, all of the repairs done. They agreed that it would be done. So in between the time that I left that day and the day that I was to show up to move, that we were to show up to move in, I was speaking with my, the middleman, excuse me, I was speaking with my driver, and I was asking him some specific questions pertaining to the house, like generator and, you know, power outages and just things of that nature, trash. And I said, call up the owner, you know, that I spoke with, because I need, you know, answers to these questions I forgot to ask during the meeting. And that's when it was revealed that the owner is in Denmark. And I'm like, but I spoke with the owner. And he's like, no, that guy wasn't the owner. He was another middleman. And I'm like, well, why would he present himself as the owner? And why would you allow me to engage in negotiations with this person, knowing that he was not the rightful owner? You know how I am. And this is, you know, I'm speaking to my driver. He's like, he didn't know. He said he didn't even know until he spoke with our middleman, and our middleman said that that guy was not the owner. So this made me very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. You're starting off being deceptive, and that I cannot deal with that. And so I immediately said, I don't ever want to interact with that guy again. I don't want him a part of this, you know, since he misrepresented himself. And so that was that. I said, I need to speak with the owner. So my driver said, the day that we move in, the owner would be there. And so I said, okay. So we show up with all of our things in the car, and, you know, I'm excited to speak with the owner. So I get inside, and I'm like, I knew the owner was a woman. I don't see a woman. So I'm like, okay, well, is the owner inside the house? And everybody's looking like boo-boo the fool, like looking at each other. My driver is looking at these two guys. One was the so-called gate boy, who, we'll get to that. The gate boy was some other young men there, and my driver. And so they're looking at each other, and I'm like, hello, where's the owner? And then my driver is like, oh, she's in Denmark, but she left him in charge. He's saying she left this is the other gentleman that was with the gate man, or yeah, the gate man. And she left him in charge, and anything that you need, he'll be able to like assist you, so don't worry. And so I'm looking at my driver like, you are out of your mind. I specifically asked to meet with the owner. And yet again, I am met with a representative. Red flag number two. Red flag number two. And so I said, if you don't get the owner on the phone right now, we will not move into this compound. Period. I need to speak with the owner. So he's like, this is the owner's nephew. He's gonna call her. Just calm down. He's gonna get her on the phone. So the nephew calls. He has some trouble getting through. It is said that she's at the hospital, whatever. So she finally calls back, and I am able to speak with her. And I told her how, disappointed I was that the guy misrepresented himself as if he was the owner. And it made me feel very uncomfortable. And I said, and the fact that I am now here today hoping to meet you and was told that I would be able to meet you, and yet again I am met by another representative. I said, it is very it's very discouraging. And I said, it's not the way that I do business. Like, if I'm renting a home, I need to be in contact with the owner, and we need to have a conversation. And I need to make sure that we're on the same page, and I need to make sure that we have open communication. And she, pretended to understand, and I understand. My nephew is there. He's going to be the house manager. Trust me, if there's anything you need, you just let him know. Oh, and my brother's also there. So they will take care of everything for you. And I'm just like, okay, but are you going to be available? Like, you're talking as if you want me to funnel everything through your nephew. No, I know. If there's ever a problem, you just let me know. But I've left him in charge. So Spirit was saying, something's not right, Mahogany. But here we are. We have all of our things in this car. And it was just like, okay, So I agreed and, took her word for it that everything was going to be fine. I had her WhatsApp information. So I looked around the house to make sure that the things that I requested to be done on the outside of the house were done. And there were still some things on the inside of the house that needed to be done. There was issues with the hot water. There was issues with the cabinets that were broken. There were issues with these huge, giant cockroaches that were coming out of everywhere. Of course, I didn't see it during the time of viewing, but this is what we experienced our first night, as far as the cockroaches are concerned. But the water and the cabinets, we turned the hot water on. We realized there was an issue with that. Went to open a couple of cabinets. They were broken. None of the doors closed properly. So, I mean, it was just those types of things, and so I contacted, the nephew, let him know, hey, hot water, there's an issue with that. We can't close any of the doors. The issue with that, the cabinets in the kitchen, they're broken. A couple of them are broken. I need that resolved. And when I would reach out to the nephew of the owner, the house manager, I would contact him via WhatsApp. And of course, on WhatsApp, you can tell when someone reads your message unless they've turned off that. So yeah, unless they've turned it off, read message received off. But you can tell when it turns blue. So I would message him about, when are the fundies coming? We've realized that this is broken, this needs to be fixed. I mean, every day there was just something, because the house was not just all the things that they should have done, checking the house and making sure that, all the things were fixed, that the hot water is running properly. All of those things, they should have checked prior to our move-in. There was a whole week and a half in between the time that I saw the place and the time that we moved in. They should have been checking these things. They should have been checking them. And he didn't. And so I would call him and let him know. So he would read the messages to you guys and he would not respond. So I would send him a message, one day, 24 hours would pass or more, you guys. Sometimes it was like a couple of days. I wouldn't hear anything. And then, he would respond, 2 days later or a whole day later, but you've already read the message and you didn't even acknowledge. And he would do this constantly. That didn't sit well with me. It's not professional. So again, another red flag. First, I'm meeting a middleman that's misrepresenting himself as the owner. First red flag. Second red flag is that I met with another representative instead of the owner. And when I speak with the owner, she's kind of pushing me off to her nephew and acting as if, she really doesn't want to be directly involved. Red flag number 3, the nephew that I was told would be of any assistance that I needed and would be capable and willing to address any issues that I may be having is flaking and is not responding. He's ignoring my messages and he responding just he has a very delayed, and then when I would speak with him, he was very like nonchalant and, lackadaisical about, the issue. So again, this went on. I mean, there were several times I would contact him. He would ignore the mess. He would read it and then not respond. And then, a day or 2 days later, then, he'll respond and say, oh, I'll get somebody for that, so that was already. And by this time, also when I showed up, I said, where's the lease? And this was day 1. I said, where's the lease? I need to look over the lease. And he's like, oh, it's in Swahili. Sorry, pole, it's in Swahili. So I'm going to have to get it, get it translated into English, and then I'll have a copy for you. So this is day 1. So then he said he would have it within 24 hours. That didn't happen. Another 24 hours. That didn't happen. Day number 3, I don't have a lease. Day 4, finally he shows up with the lease. So I read over the lease and I make some edits to the lease. And then he confers with the owner. And he gets the owner's daughter. And she's trying to make decisions that she has no knowledge about. And so, that was annoying because, again, I can't get in contact with the owner. She's the one that makes the final decision. So he was finally able to get through. I told him I would transfer the money. I said, I had not yet signed the lease. So I told him that I would transfer, the funds for, I did 4 months in advance. And so I submitted the money via World Remit. And in between that time that I sent the money via World Remit and the day that I was going to sign the lease, that night, I had already made the transaction to him and I was going to have him pick up the lease the next morning. Okay. Also, I need to tell you guys, in the kitchen, there was an opening and it smelled so bad. It was like, it was a putrid smell. And it was an opening in the kitchen. And I told him, hey, somebody needs to come and close this off. Like, it stinks really, really bad. So that was another issue. So that night, my son and I, we go to sleep, or, and then I wake up. I always wake up, and then, if I happen to go to bed early, I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm up at all times, but either ways, I had to awaken. You guys, the couch, I fell asleep on the couch. The couch, I woke up, I was covered. Ants everywhere. ants covered. Jump up, I turn on the light. You guys, there were ants covering the entire wall. I mean, just talking about it now gives me the heebie-jeebies. They were just, it was a blanket of them. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, trying to get the ants off of me. I, am calling him. I called the nephew. I can't get through to him. Josiah calls out to the gate man, and he comes, and I'm fumbling over man because he really isn't. He's a young boy. So, but we'll say gate man. So he calls out to him. He comes in and he's like, oh, pole. So he's talking to Swahili. He gets on the phone, and I'm assuming he's trying to reach the owner's nephew. And he goes and he's getting salt. And then my son says, Mom, I remember, I was taught by, one of the brothers that we're close to in America. And he's like, I remember he taught me that if you put pepper down, that the ants can't sneeze and they'll just, die. So that will work. So we put pepper down, we're putting salt down, and the ants are just falling. Ugh, they're falling. So, he did, the nephew, I was just at that point with all of very important. Okay, so I have to backtrack. So when I was sending the other messages about the things that needed to be repaired in the house. And there was also a leak in the bathroom. There was a leak in the bathroom. It was the floor was all wet. So that was another issue. So when I was sending messages to the nephew via WhatsApp, and he was ignoring my messages, I contacted the owner on WhatsApp. Now this is like day 3. I contacted the owner to let her know, hey, he's not responding. You said that he would. You said that he'd be up for the task, and he's not responding to me about things that need to be repaired. And I noticed something on WhatsApp when I was trying to, when I sent her a message. I noticed that it had only one gray check mark. And I noticed before I could see her profile picture, and now I could not see her profile picture. So I said, I know this lady did not block me. She blocked me. Now, I had not communicated with her since that first day that we moved in, and she assured me everything would be fine. And I go to contact her, and she blocked me, you guys. I have no idea as to why. There was no reason for her to do that. And so I'm like, at this point, I'm feeling very disheartened and very perplexed. And so I'm like, why would she block me? Like, this is really weird. And I'm just confused. So yeah, so just let you guys know that. So fast forward back to where the ants were just everywhere. And there was still the cockroach issue that he had not, addressed. And other issues that still needed to be addressed in the house. So he didn't respond. He just did not respond. So until like midday the next day. And by that time I was fed up. And I just said, you know what? From the very beginning, this was not an ideal situation. So we're getting out of here. So I paid the house help for her time. That this is the 6th day. Okay, this is the 6th day. And the morning of the 6th day. And so we just decided, you know what, let's just get out of here. So we did. We packed up our things. And then the nephew comes strolling in because the house help had told him, hey, she's packing up, she's leaving. Um, so he comes and he comes casually coming and he's sitting outside, did not come in and address me, did not come in and greet me. My son actually told me that he was here. My son's like, Mom, the guy, he's outside, the nephew, he's outside. So they're all sitting out there, him, the gate man, and the house help, they're sitting out there talking in Swahili, having a great little time. And so I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Let them talk away. He's not even man enough to come and greet me and speak to me about these issues and about his neglect and unprofessionalism. And so I packed up, had everything packed up, called my driver, was like, I'm getting out of here. I had already, prior to me moving to that place, I was already looking at another place on Airbnb to stay temporarily, which was literally around the corner from there. And so I was in communication with the owner of that place. And so luckily the place was still available. So we had somewhere to go, and luckily it wasn't that far. So packed up our things. I went outside and I said, oh, hi. Speaking to the nephew, I said, oh, hi, how are you? And he's looking like, oh, hey, how are you? I said, oh, okay. I said, didn't know that you were here, until my son told me. I said, by the way, I'm sure you are aware that we're moving. You're moving? What? I said, don't try to act surprised. I said, I know you know that we're moving. Come on. So he's looking like, oh, and so I was like, we need to work out the particulars. We're moving out of here as of today. I had went on World Remit because he still had not received the funds. And so I went on World Remit and asked for a cancellation. I was told that it would be canceled. So I said, I will then deposit. I told him, that I had canceled that and that I will deposit the money that is owed, the prorated amount that was owed for the 6 days, into his account. And we will just leave it as that. I said, because I hadn't yet signed, giving you a signed lease. So, we don't have a written agreement. I said, but we were here for 6 days and rent is owed for those 6 days. And I said, I've already paid the house help her prorated amount as well. So he's like, well, okay. And I'm just going to speak to the owner and, see what she has to say. I said, well, it really doesn't matter what she has to say. We're moving out. I will pay you what's owed for our 6 days, and that's that. So my spirit was saying, okay, something is brewing here, okay, just by his language. So we move out. We move into the temporary place around the corner. And my driver, who I had paid his salary through World Remit, messaged me and told me, hey, I got the funds, and the nephew of the owner got the funds too. And my heart just went like, I was in my throat. I was like, what? So I called World Remit. I'm like, you guys told me that you were going to cancel it, and the guy has gotten the funds now. And he didn't say a word to me. Now this is the day that I moved out. Later on that day, that's when I learned that the nephew had gotten the funds, and he didn't say a word to me. And he was going to allow me to go to my bank, withdraw the prorated amount, and give him that too. He didn't mention a word that he had already received the funds. So when I was speaking to him and letting him know that we were moving out and that I was going to give him the prorated amount, he had already received the funds. So when we were moving out and I was going to, we had moved the last of our things out and I was going to return the key to him, he was nowhere to be found. And I guess in between that time, he had gotten the transfer. So he had left. So I messaged him and I said, oh, no wonder why you left in a hurry. I was informed that you already have received the 4 months advance rent. And I said that you were not supposed to receive. I said, so please return my money to me. and, minus the prorated amount. And he goes, "Oh no, I wasn't running. Oh, I'm back now. Oh no, I just want to speak with the owner so that she can tell me, how much you're supposed to get back." I said, "I already told you how much I'm supposed to get back. I calculated the prorated amount. That's how, and then minus that prorated amount, that is how much is supposed to be returned from me, returned to me." So I said, "Okay, here we go. Here we go." I said, "Please don't escalate this." I told him, I said, "Because you don't want to escalate this with me." I said, "It's not going to go over well for you." So I'm waiting 24 hours to go by. We're in, now that whole day went by. Now here's another day. And then finally he sends me a message, was like, "Oh, the owner said that we will take 600,000, and then we will return the rest to you." I said, "And the owner must be smoking that good crack, because that's not going to happen." And I said, "No, you all are to get the prorated amount and the rest is returned to me." So I said, "So you guys want to be thieves? That's what you want to be?" Well, I just spoke to the owner, and that's what she says. So I had to contact my lawyer. Okay, so this is when I contact my lawyer, you guys.